Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 6th of December 2022. And I guess the big news so far this week, it's all over Telegram and all kinds of online commentators in the alternative media world are talking about it. And it's this Oxford County Council decision to really start turning the city of Oxford into a 15-minute city, which is this plan to really make sure you don't have any reason to go more than a 15-minute walk from your house, because you'll have all of the facilities you need within that distance. And apparently they're going to do a trial run in 2024. They're going to, I don't know, install lots of cameras and even physical barriers apparently to stop you going out of your zone. I think there's going to be about 7 zones in Oxford, and you won't be able to leave your zone without the permission of the council, and even then only sort of 2 days a week, or it might be you can go automatically 2 days a week or 100 days a year, and any more than that you'll need permission from the council before you can go out again. So very, very dystopian. It's the kind of thing that only so-called conspiracy theorists were talking about up until recently, and lo and behold, here we are. It's coming into reality. So the old joke of what's the difference between a conspiracy theory and fact, about 6 months, that has definitely proved to be the case with this one, hasn't it? Now, this is something we need to fight, because if this comes in, they're just going to roll it out and ramp it up throughout the whole country. Pretty much every city and town will eventually have this thing, and you can bet your life that the number of exceptions and times that you can go out of your zone will be reduced. So that 100 days a year will come down eventually to 50 to 25, etc. And then you'll just need a very exceptional excuse eventually to leave your particular zone. And I think really we need to make the whole country, the whole world aware of this. This is what's planned for everywhere. It doesn't matter what part of the world you're in. This is going to come to a town near you sometime in the future if it comes to Oxford, and it'll just be the start of this horrible dystopian social credit score type of society. Because that's another thing they'll base it on, of course, isn't it? You won't be able to leave your zone if you've got a bad credit score. If you've got a good credit score, you might be able to go out a bit more out of your zone perhaps each year, but even then it's not a desirable thing. So it's an absolutely disgusting decision. You can bet your life that no one in Oxford, when they're voting in their councillors, voted for that. It wasn't in anyone's manifesto. So it's a totally undemocratic decision for starters. And yeah, I think if it comes in, whatever day it's going to be in 2024, hopefully there's going to be enough blowback, enough pushback that they're just going to drop the whole plan anyway before it even kind of gets going. But if it does get going, I think in 2024, put a date in your diary for a nice, huge, great big shopping trip in Oxford. We can go along on the day of rollout, and we can just go, the whole freedom movement can all turn up there in our cars and just flood the entire system. So I think if they dare roll this thing out, that is an idea of something that we can do in 2024. But I would have thought that even if they bring it in and they start fining people for leaving their zones when they're not supposed to be, you can use the principles of common law to fight it and win court cases against it, because after all, it's freedom of movement is one of your inalienable rights, human rights, isn't it? And there's a few of these inalienable rights, or really it should be pronounced inalienable rights, which means you can't have any kind of lien placed on your right that we're talking about here. A lien, how's it spelled? L-I-E-N, I think it is, or the E and the I might be the other way around. But a lien is a condition, really. That's how I understand it. I'm no lawyer, but that's kind of how I understand the whole thing. So really, if you want to put it into plain everyday English, you could call it unconditional rights and conditional rights. So if you've got a particular right and you've got a lien on it, it means that right can be taken away if you break certain conditions. And I guess the most common type of lien that you would come across in everyday life would be your mortgage, or if you rent your property, the rent situation. So if you defaulted, well, in the normal course of things, you've got a right to live in that house or flat, haven't you? But it's a conditional right, because if you default on your payments, whether it's your mortgage or rent payments, that right is then forfeit. The lien is sort of put into place, and you no longer have the right to live there, and the landlord or the mortgage company has the right to kick you out. So that would be a conditional right, or a right with a lien on it. But something that is inalienable or unconditional is your basic human rights. So that includes your right to life, your right to free speech, freedom of assembly, and freedom of movement. And there's probably a couple of others that I've missed there as well. Right to property, I think, is another one. And these are all unconditional, inalienable rights, and no one has the power to take that away from you. And if they try, we can fight them in the courts, we can fight them everywhere, shopping trips, whatever you want to do, I suppose. But you can fight it in the courts, and because it's an inalienable right, you're probably going to win your court case. So this is something to be resisted, and resisted big time, because it's going to be, believe you me, thin end of the wedge territory. And if they get away with this and Oxford becomes one of these horrible 15-minute cities, it's just going to happen absolutely everywhere else as well. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this situation and updating you as and when I hear updates. Hopefully the next update will be somewhere in 6 months' time that Oxford County Council decided to drop this horrible thing because of so much protest and pushback. So let us hope that's the case. But spread the word on this story as well, because this is something that even people who don't think like us, who have had all the 3-dart finish and everything else, this is going to be something they're going to get up in arms about as well. No one out there, I don't care how many darts they've had, no one out there is going to want to be restricted in their movement, told when they can't leave their house. So it is a good story to share. It's easy enough to share. It's absolutely everywhere, so you can show them the articles and you can just say, look, this is what they're planning and we need to fight against this. So hopefully I've done my job to spread the news and to encourage you to spread it even further. And yeah, let's get this story out there to everybody, and let's tell them in no uncertain terms how much bad news it is. So yeah, I'll let you go and do that and check out the story in more depth. If I can find a link to it which gives you the whole picture, I'll link it down below. If not, I'll be back tomorrow and I'll talk to you then. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.